Hi, welcome to the podcast, Use Your Powers for Good. I'm Carolyn Moselle, and I'm glad you're here. This is a podcast to inspire leaders, managers, and supervisors to use their powers for good to put more kindness into the world. As leaders, it's important to nurture our soul, increase our awareness of ourselves and others, as well as acquire tactical tools and strategies for our leadership toolbox. Today's guest is Katie Bywater. She is the founder and breathwork facilitator of Esoteric Therapeutic. She's going to provide us some insight and tools for our soul care. Hi, Katie, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast. Tell me, what made you interested in becoming a breathwork facilitator?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me, Carolyn. I'm super happy to be here. So my story of how I found breathwork goes way back. I had a lot of grief in my life. So for reference, I'm 28 years old. And before I was even 23 years old, I lost two partners. And that really morphed into a lot of grief that I didn't have the tools to manage. That grief really morphed into depression, anxiety, emotional eating, and some other addictions to escape, and also really a feeling of not enough self-worth. And really where I saw that self-worth, or the lack thereof, was in my professional life. I really burnt myself out, working myself to the bone, because I used my professional life as a tool for self-worth as I managed that grief. So I was having a lot of issues, all due to that grief. And by the time I was 25, I was in a really low point. I had made it in my career. I was leading a people operations team for a high functioning tech company, but it was at the expense of myself. And as I was going through all of this stuff personally, I happened to just randomly stumble into a breathwork class at a yoga festival. I'm a huge yoga practitioner. I'm also a yoga teacher in my free time, but I stumbled into this class not having any idea what breathwork was. I saw it was breathing and Native American music, and I was like, that sounds amazing. And it happened to be a 3-hour experience that I walked into. And when I walked into the room, there were facilitators everywhere in the room. There were tissues around, and the facilitator, the main facilitator, who I ended up doing my breathwork teacher training with, he was like, this is a place for trauma release. It is a place to release stress, trauma, anxiety, a lot of chronic stress. And that one session honestly changed my life. I was able to work through a lot of these things that I'd been holding on to, and I released so many things that had been in me for years, and I was hooked. So once I had that beautiful heart-opening experience, I decided it was time for me to go down this route. So I took my teacher training, and it opened me up to all of the beautiful things within myself. And I truly feel that it's my sole purpose to share these powerful healing tools with as many people as possible.
Yeah, so for my listeners in the audience, I had a personal experience with Katie's teachings and her session, and I tell you, it was a Saturday afternoon, so I wasn't sure what to expect. And then, as a leader, you need to open yourself up to experiences that will, help you to know better and do better. And, you know, that experience left me feeling like I went to the spa. The only other, and I say that because I had in years back, I always remember this experience of being on a cruise ship and getting a massage right before it was time to go to the fancy dinner that they have, and I just was so relaxed that I could not go to the dinner. I just wanted to lay back and relax, and that's the memory that came up after your breathwork session with me. So I can understand how you can be, hooked once you get into understanding and knowing the relief that breathwork will bring to you. So once you finish that session, now were you still in your corporate job? And if you were, how did that breathwork experience help you through your career?
Absolutely. So I think one of the main ways that breathwork can help those of us that have these intense professional careers, a corporate career, is helping manage stress levels. So I think a lot of us have chronic stress in our day-to-day, whether that's in our professional life or potentially in our personal life or both. And what we're actually doing in breathwork is we are retraining the nervous system to release that stress. So we all have what is called the autonomic nervous system, which is essentially our autonomous nervous system that controls our respiratory rate, our heart rate, etc. And within that nervous system, we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic nervous system is your rest and digest system. So it comes into play when you're reading a good book, relaxing, taking a hot bath, feeling super, super calm. Whereas your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight system. And that system comes into play when you're at work, when you're cleaning the kitchen, picking up the kids from school, etc. So when we have a lot of chronic stress in our day-to-day, we can actually get stuck in that sympathetic nervous system in this fight or flight stage, which causes rage, anxiety, panic, irritability, and you can really get thrown out of balance really easily. So if you have a stressor in your day-to-day at work, if you're in that sympathetic state, you're going to react. You're not going to take in all the information that you need to make a sound decision. So what we're doing with breathwork is we are rebalancing the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, releasing any tension within that nervous system. So releasing the chronic stress, and then widening what we call the window of tolerance, which is your ability to deal with stress and other things during your day as well, so that you are more prepared to handle tough situations and lead from a place of grounded, a place of knowing, and really not react in tough situations.
Yes, and that's very important as leaders, to not be reactive and to be in a headspace where you can choose the appropriate response. And that takes some effort and some practice. And I can see, just understanding how to just take a deep breath before going into, what may be a contentious meeting, or a deep breath, before having or some breath work before having a hard conversation could be, beneficial in getting you in the right headspace. So can you tell me about the type of breathwork patterns that you use? I know that I've seen, like, the little bit I do know about breathwork, I can tell you told me about. And then I did, just randomly, just in other, I guess, other, research about it, I've seen that there are different types of breathwork patterns. And so can you tell us a little bit about what type of breathwork patterns you use?
Of course, absolutely. So for the longer breathwork sessions that I offer, that are generally 90 minutes or so, those sessions are specifically formatted to release stress and trauma from your nervous system. And those specific breath patterns, what we'll do in this longer session is we use 3 different types of breath. So you're using a deep, conscious, connected breath throughout this entire time, which essentially means you are continuously breathing. So you can think of a circle and your breath is moving the entire time. So there's no pause in between any of the breaths. So in these longer sessions, you're using a breath in through the nose and out through the nose, in through the nose and out through the mouth, and in through the mouth and out through the mouth. So essentially what we're doing with these different type of breaths, the in through the nose and out through the nose, is calming your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's pulling you into that rest and digest system. As we get to the other end of the spectrum, breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth, that breath pattern is specifically activating your sympathetic nervous system. So that is your fight or flight system. So we're using these different types of breath and oscillating between the two throughout the session to rewire the nervous system. Now that's the longer sessions. I find it really helpful to practice smaller tidbits of breath work throughout the day as well. And these can kind of be either meditations or breath meditations. So you're not going super deep, you're not going into sympathetic activation. When you're using breath work throughout the day, you're calming the nervous system, you're preparing yourself to go into a meeting grounded. So there's 2 breath patterns that I absolutely love. that you can use in the middle of your day when you're taking a break in between tasks. Set a timer for 2 minutes and do these. So the first of which is square breathing. So essentially, if you imagine a square, you're inhaling for the top of the square for the count of 4, holding the breath in for the count of 4 for the side of the square, exhaling the breath out for the count of 4 for the bottom of the square, and then holding the breath out for the count of 4 on the side of the square. So you're essentially breathing 4 seconds in, holding 4 seconds, exhaling 4 seconds, and then holding the breath out for 4 seconds. And that is an amazing breath to calm the nervous system. And I use it many times throughout my day. And then I have one other favorite one, which is the 4-7-8 breath. So the 4-7-8 breath is similar to square breathing, but you're actually holding the breath in for longer and doubling your exhale. So you're inhaling for the count of 4, holding the breath in for the count of 7, and then exhaling for the count of 8. And the reason that you're holding the breath in and doubling the exhale is you're actually increasing the level of carbon dioxide in your system. So there's a bunch of research coming out that having more carbon dioxide in your system, more balanced levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide, is actually better for you than having a ton of oxygen and only a little bit of carbon dioxide. So we used to think that carbon dioxide was a waste product of oxygen as your body uses oxygen. That's in fact not the case. So when you're feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of the reason for it is we haven't been breathing. We're breathing shallow and in our chest and not getting enough breath in and not giving the body enough time to convert that breath into carbon dioxide. So by doubling the exhale and holding the breath in for 7 seconds for that 4-7-8 breath, you're giving the body more time to use the oxygen, convert it to carbon dioxide, and balance the levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your body, which ultimately leads to a calm, grounded state.
Wow. So what I would like for you to do, because I really would like the audience to leave with something they can do, like you explained with I think the square breath. Would be something that would be an awesome tool for people to start with, sounds like, right?
Yes.
So, at the risk of relaxing too much and not being able to continue this podcast, I would like, for the benefit of the audience, to do, if you would take me through kind of like just a mini version of the square breath. And this is kind of selfish for me too, because this way I can relax for the rest of my day.
Absolutely. Me as well. Honestly, I get the same benefits through facilitating because I'm breathing as well. So I'm happy to. Awesome. Okay. So if you're listening to this podcast, please feel free to join in as long as you are not driving, as long as you are in a safe space where you have the opportunity to close your eyes and you know you're safe. Please feel free to join in. Otherwise, pause the podcast and come back to when you're in a safe space.
Thank you for that PSA.
Yes, of course. Awesome. All right, Carolyn. So whenever you're ready, I invite you to sit up tall, the crown of your head over your shoulders, and your shoulders over your hips. An option to close the eyes or gaze down. And just start to check in with your body. Notice if you feel any tension in your shoulders or your neck. Relax your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And check in with your breathing. Is it shallow and in your chest? Is it deeper and within the belly? Let's take 3 deep breaths before we get started with the square breath. So whenever you're ready, exhale all of your air out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. 2 more, inhale. Filling your lungs completely. Exhale, let it all go. Last time, inhale. Take an extra sip of breath at the top. Exhale, let it all go. Now allow your breath to return to natural. Simply sitting with your body for the next moment. So we'll start in just a moment with square breathing. So I'll explain the breath and then I will guide you through it. So when we get started, we'll inhale for the count of 4, hold the breath in for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 4, and then hold the breath out for the count of 4. And we'll do a few rounds of that and I will guide you the entire time. So let's go ahead and get started. So exhale all of your air out. Inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Last time, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Now allow your breath to return to natural. Noticing if you feel any gentle shifts within your mood or within your body. Then slowly, there's no rush. Open your eyes, taking a look around the room around you, noticing the colors in the room, noticing the physical objects, coming back to full present awareness.
Hey, that was awesome. I could feel like the release of tension kind of in my shoulders and arms. So I am hopefully I was a demonstration of, a tool that everyone could use to come to some state of relaxation, to make a shift to get out of, a mood or an emotion that makes them anxious or where they have some overwhelm. So that was really awesome, Katie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, so tell me, this is a question that I'm going to ask all of my guests. So if you're going to be a guest, be prepared to answer this question. So how do you put more kindness into the world?
I love that question. I think the way that I put more kindness into the world is first by working on myself. You can't fill up anyone else if your cup is empty. So I do a lot of work on myself. I think it's most important for me to start my day with my own morning routine. So taking a really slow morning, reading, meditating. I journal every morning. I do some breath practices to fill my cup up first. And then I know that when something happens or when I'm out in the world, I will come from a place of gratitude. I will come from a place of love and be able to pour into anyone in any situation. So I think that is my practice on a day-to-day. And then, of course, outside of that, my offering to the world is breathwork. So holding space for everyone, as many people as possible, as they go through their own experiences and they're able to work through whatever comes up for them in a breathwork session.
That's awesome. I can say that, the breathwork session that we just went through I think that if anyone who is listening was in a space where they were feeling some overwhelm or some emotion that was not totally settling for them, then I think you have put some more kindness into the world by helping them to make that shift to something different and to show up in a different way for whatever they have to tackle. So thank you for that. Thank you for putting more kindness into the world. So Katie, can you tell us what you're up to, what you have coming up? I'm sure, if anyone wants to go deeper into breath work, you have some things that you are offering.
Yes, absolutely. I have so many things on the horizon right now. I'm super, super excited about all of them. Even Carolyn, since we last chatted, a lot has morphed and is coming into the light. So the first thing that is a continuous offer of mine is the Reawakened Breathwork membership. So these are group breathwork classes that are 90 minutes each, 2 per month. And then we do 1 guest session per month as well, in addition to weekly self-care content, meditations that I record, etc. So your followers and your listeners can join Reawakened Breathwork for $10 for their first month, and then they can cancel anytime after that. You'll just use the code LOVE10 when you register on my website. Other than that, I have one-on-one sessions available, which are amazing to go a lot deeper. And then some other things that I'm super excited about, Carolyn, that I haven't even mentioned to you yet, as they're really just coming into light today. For the month of February, my good friend Lindsay Dapp-Kern and I, we are launching the Galentine's Collective. So this is a month-long event series. We're having 10 different events on all things self-care. So tarot readings,
Awesome.
breathwork sessions, Kundalini meditations, an herbalism class, a speaking your truth class. So we're super excited about all of this. Actually, tickets are going on sale right about now. And folks can buy the entire month-long package, or they can do drop-ins. So whenever this podcast goes live, there will certainly be the opportunity for for drop-ins for that as well. So those are a lot of the things that I'm up to, and I'm so excited about all of them.
Oh, those are awesome, because one of the pieces of the framework that I do in my leadership coaching is to tend to yourself in soul care. So this is an awesome opportunity to get just kind of, I think, to get like a sampling of what works for you, because everything doesn't work for everyone. And like, for example, you said you journal. I just have a hard time journaling. I tried because, they said it was good. But I really have a hard time journaling. But I do meditate, and I do, breath work. So, this sounds like an opportunity to understand what works for you, what helps you take care of your soul and yourself. So hopefully people will take advantage of that opportunity and just test the waters and see what works for them. So tell us how we can reach you.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Esoteric Therapeutic, or on my website, which is esoterictherapeutic.com. Everything that I just mentioned about ways to contact me and work with me are both on Instagram and my website. And then also feel free to email me if you have any questions about breath work. If you want to see if it's right for you, I'm happy to hop on a call. So you can email me at katie@esoterictherapeutic.com.
Awesome. Katie, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really an eye-opening experience for the listeners, because I know that I've still, some people are still coming into understanding and learning about breath work, because when I mention it to people, some people, some people know about it, some people are like, I've heard it, but I'm not quite sure what it's about. So thank you for allowing me to share you and to share the tools that you have for some self and soul care. Thank you so much. So everyone, thank you for joining in. Until next time, be better today than yesterday. Be better tomorrow than today. Bye for now.